أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. I welcome you all my precious JSS1 students to another English Studies class from CTY Model College, Ibadan. I am Hassana Sulaiman, and our first lesson for this week, which is week 9, is on increase your word power, corruption. Our reference material is Nosik Virginia Secondary Schools 1 by Ayobanjo et al., published by University Press PLC, pages 156 to 157. However, the purpose of this lesson is to examine some words related to corruption. However, these words are used in a passage, but after the passage, I'll still implore you all to proceed to use your dictionary to look up some of these words which are in bold print from the dictionary in order to familiarize yourself with more usage of these words. Now, let's read this passage together. When we refer to somebody as being corrupt, what do we mean? We mean that such a person is willing to use his or her power to do things that are dishonest or illegal in return for money or to get an advantage. The behavior of such a person is dishonest or immoral. Corruption, therefore, means the dishonest or unlawful behavior of people, especially people who are in authority or who have some power over other people. Any society in which corruption is common cannot progress or develop. In school system, if a teacher gets money from a student and gives him or her undeserved marks in a test or examination, such a teacher is corrupt. It may even be that a male teacher gives an undeserved mark to a girl or lady so as to sleep with her. That is corruption. Most cases of examination leakages at all levels are as a result of corruption. Somebody, somewhere, receives money from someone or some people and leaks examination questions to him or them. It may be that a man leaks an examination question to a girl or lady with the aim of sleeping with her. What are the consequences of corruption in education sector? One of the reasons for the falling standard of education is corruption. Many students will not study or read their books. They depend on being given some marks than they deserve or having advanced knowledge of examination questions. Therefore, we observe people carrying beautiful certificates or degrees, indicating that they obtain distinction which they cannot defend. Ask them a simple question, they cannot construct a single English sentence correctly. In terms of employment in civil service or any firm or organization, when a person is offered employment, not because he or she is qualified, but because he or she has been able to give money or herself to the employer, that is corruption. As a result of corruption, jobs are given to incompetent, inefficient, and unqualified people. What then happens? Such unqualified people will perform their jobs inefficiently and the organizations will not achieve their goals. In addition, the competent and highly qualified people will be frustrated. Corruption is also noticeable in the award of contracts. When contracts are awarded to unqualified or incompetent people because money has changed hands, or because the male official awarding the contract has slept with the lady awarded the contract. Such contracts are haphazardly and shoddily executed. The so-called completed jobs cannot stand the test of time. Let us take the example of road construction. A road contract awarded through corruption will go into a state of disrepair 6 months or 1 year after completion. This will make people experience hardship again. When policemen obtain money from motorists and let them go for free after committing offenses, that is corruption. The result is that drivers will float the traffic regulations, drive recklessly, and drive under influence of alcohol. Thus, the lives of the people are endangered. Indeed, many precious lives have been lost in this way. The judiciary is not left out of corruption. Judges and judicial officers obtain money from accused persons who are guilty of offenses so as to give judgment in their favor. That is corruption. What happens is that people suffer. Instead of justice, there is injustice. There are many other examples and instances of corruption. From the few examples above, we can see that in a society where corruption is common, there will be injustice, chaos, disorder or incompetence, gross abuse of office and power. Above all, the economy will be ruined and there will be little or no development. This is why the federal government of Nigeria has set up the Independent Corrupt Practices Commission (ICPC) and Economic and Financial Crime Commission (EFCC) to deal with the cankerworm of corruption in the society. Now, summarily, what this passage is all about centers on corruption and some roles related to corruption. When we talk about roles relating to corruption, we talk about corrupt, dishonest or illegal, immoral, undeserved, leakages, frustrated, haphazardly, shoddily executed, stand the test of time, disrepair, float, regulations, and cankerworm. All these words are to be looked up from your dictionary in order for you to familiarize yourself with the usage of these words. However, summarily, the first paragraph of this passage discusses what is known as corrupt. What is known as being corrupt, that is, when somebody uses his or her power to do things that are illegal in order to get money or to get an advantage. However, the second paragraph looked at the definition of corruption. That is a means hereby dishonest or unlawful behavior of people especially people who are in authority or who have some power over other people. That is what corruption means. That is the dishonest or unlawful behavior of people. That is not just anybody, but people who are in authority or people who have some power over other people. Then the next paragraph looked at corruption in the school system, whereby a teacher get money from students in order to give him undeserved marks, or whereby a male teacher gives undeserved mark to a girl in order to sleep with her, or and in most cases somebody or someone receives money in order to leak questions, whereby the student will have knowledge of examination questions before the exam. The next paragraph says the consequences of corruption in education sector. That is, in education sector, the consequences of corruption in education sector. It is one of the reasons for falling standard of education is corruption. That is, many students, instead of studying or reading their books, they depend on marks that they will be earned from their lecturer, maybe after, or their teacher after giving them money, or after allowing those teachers or lecturers to sleep with them. And at the end of the day, many of these students, they come out with good grades or certificates, but yet they can't defend these certificates. The writer also looked at corruption in civil service or in any firm or organization, whereby some people are employed not because they are qualified, but because they have given money or they have bribed some of the employer, or they have been slept with. And the result of this is that jobs will be given to incompetent and inefficient people, and at the long run, they will perform inefficiently, and this will not enable the organizations to achieve their goals. Reiser also looked at corruption in awarding of contracts, whereby contracts are awarded to unqualified or incompetent people. And the result of this is that such contracts or such jobs are done haphazardly, they are not well done. And such contracts cannot last long. That is, they only last for a while. And after a while, the, the contract or the road, for example, goes back to a state of disrepair. The writer also looked at corruption among policemen, especially the traffic policemen, whereby they obtain motorists to go freely after committing offenses. And at the long run, such motorists, they float traffic regulations. They drive recklessly, and even some of them, they drive under the influence of alcohol, that is, after drinking alcohol. The writer also looked at corruption in judiciary, that is, corruption among judges or other judicial officers, whereby the accused, who is supposed to be guilty, after giving money to maybe a judge or some judges, they deliver judgment in his or her favor, and this brings about injustice. And finally, the writer looked at what corruption brings about in our society. Brings about injustice, chaos, disorder, incompetence, gross abuse of office and power, and above all, it ruined the economy. And finally, the writer looks at the organizations responsible for punishing of people who engage in any corrupt practices. And these organizations are ICPC, known as Independent Corrupt Practices Commission, and EFCC, Economic Financial Crimes Commission. To this end, I implore you all to read more on this topic from your textbook and do also proceed to the portal for your assignments. Until next class that I will still come your way, I say stay home and stay safe. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.